As far back as I can remember, there's been a series that stood the test of time. A series that's beauty and creative design has captivated all of us and helped us experience all manner of adventure and wonder, as well as enticed our minds once with a gripping story and an absolutely magical world. I am of course referring to a game series we are all very much familiar with, Bethesda's hit fantasy RPG, The Elder Scrolls. If you guys love this series as much as I do, then come with me and stay close as we go on a journey through the land of Tamriel, as there we'll find all manner of wonder and adventure just right for the picking. These are the stories written by legends, written by us, adventures that we remember fondly and spend hours playing away, stories that we will never forget.
All fate sealed and sins redeemed. If you have pity, mourn the lost, but let the weeping cease.
Perhaps you can find the answer. I ask this as your emperor. Your friend.
My name is Infinity Break, and this is a series I've wanted to do for a very long time now, and I'm finally doing it, so sit back and get ready to reminisce as I go through every major Elder Scrolls game to date. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very first a study of The Elder Scrolls.
The Elder Scrolls told you.
Find the last of my blood and close shut the marble jaws of oblivion.
Was as loyal a subject, ally, and friend as you are.
I take my place with my father and my father's fathers. When the next Elder Scroll is written, you shall read scroll.
Okay, so if we're going to do an analysis of the Elder Scrolls, I suppose we should start with the first game in the series. It only makes sense. Let's start with Arena. So yeah, Arena is the first entry in the Elder Scrolls franchise. It was released back in 1994 by Bethesda Softworks for the MS-DOS, a gaming platform mostly remembered for games like Doom, Sid Meier's Civilization, and many others, honestly. But all you need to know is that it's an old operating software. It's very outdated and very hard for people to get up and running. It's not really hard, it's more complicated than anything, but there is a trick to really getting it to run really easily. I'll explain in a second. What's interesting is when I looked into the reviews for Arena, they're actually very positive, saying things like sophisticated graphics and the most natural way of fighting that I've seen in a first-person game. Things that in this game I kind of look at and say, wow, we really have come a far way. That's not to say that Arena is a bad game, it's just that by today's standards, it definitely hasn't aged too well. I'm happy to say that it was impressive when it first came out, definitely gaining things like 8 out of 10s and an 88% from PC Gamer. mean, that's not bad, honestly. You know, there's one question I constantly read on the internet about Arena. Whenever there's an Arena video, gameplay, lore video, it's why is the game called Arena? And it's a good question, honestly, as there really isn't an Arena in the game anywhere. At least I couldn't find one in the 25 plus hours I was playing it. So why is the game called Arena? Why is it the Elder Scrolls Arena if there's no Arena in the game? Well, it's an interesting story, actually. And most people who are crazy about the Elder Scrolls franchise tend to know this, but if you're new, let me tell you. So when Bethesda first started making Arena, it was originally designed to just be a simple little arena fighter game where the main character would sit with a team and, you know, they got like warriors, mages, rogues, and whatever on it. You would travel all over Tamriel, fighting in different arenas and provinces, until finally they got to the Imperial City, which was like the end-all be-all, with the biggest arena, the biggest challenges, and if they beat that, they would be crowned the Grand Champion of the arena. And then at that point, they would have just beat the game. It's a really simple concept. It definitely could have worked, honestly, if they just went through with it, but they didn't, and there's an interesting reason why. Alright, so during the development of Arena, the devs had a cool idea. Why don't we let the player just do some side quests in between the fights so they can get better equipment and hire on more people and stuff? Well, everyone liked that idea. In fact, they liked it so much, they decided to just make it the entire game. I'm not kidding. They just cut the arena part out of the game and made a full-fledged dungeon crawler RPG. The only issue at this point was that they already took the name Arena and had a copyright and everything on it, so they had to stick with it. So they decided to just stick the part of the Elder Scrolls onto the front of it and just add bits and pieces into the game to make the arena part make more sense. And this kind of caused problems at first. See, with the name Arena, most people thought it's just a straightforward arena fighter game, you know, like it was supposed to be. But what actually ended up happening was a lot of people who like the RPG genre were very confused as to whether or not they should pick up the game. This actually caused Bethesda at one point to say, oh crap, we might go bankrupt. At this point, the only thing that could save Arena was, well, Arena itself. Most people actually ended up liking Arena when they picked it up, so word of mouth got around. So the big scare of Bethesda going under, thankfully, didn't actually happen. In the words of Ted Peterson, one of the head developers at the time, word of mouth did the trick. Game-starved RPG fans looked at Arena, they loved it, and spread the word. Sales rocketed, awards and accolades rained down. So thankfully, Bethesda managed to pull through. That's basically it though. That's why the game was called Arena, and hopefully now most of you finally got the question answered. I suppose now that that's all out of the way, it's now a good time to finally move on to the story of Arena. So Arena is the earliest game to take place in the Elder Scrolls timeline. That is if we're only counting the main series games. It takes place during the 389th year of the Third Era, under the reign of Uriel Septim VII, in my opinion one of the better emperors in the Elder Scrolls series. The whole game revolves around the event of Yeagar Tharn, Emperor Uriel Septim's battle mage, betraying the Emperor and throwing him into a plane of oblivion so that he can use his magic to impersonate the Emperor and basically just take his place. See, you play as the Eternal Champion, a person who just happened to be in the middle of this whole thing as a low-ranking member of the Emperor's court. For some reason at the beginning of the game, you're sent to the Imperial dungeons just to die. They never really explain why. I guess Tharn kind of saw you as a threat, but yeah, they just explain away that you were basically sent to rot in the dungeons. And after this, you receive a message from a dead Rhea Silmane, who was Tharn's apprentice before Tharn killed her for trying to betray him.
Do not fear, for ready to die. Rhea still may. Listen to me. There are no others left to carry on the fight. You have been left in this cell to die. Hagarthorn, Imperial Battle, Mage of Tamriel, has taken on the guise of the true Emperor. He does not see you as a threat, being only a minor part of the Imperial Court. In that act of arrogance, he has made his first mistake.
Rhea informs you that she needs your help to stop Tharn, as under his rule the land of Tamriel will fall to ruin. She tells you also of a key that will unlock the door to your cell, and that when you escape she will contact you again through your dreams.
Look to the north wall of the cell. You will find a ruby key which will unlock the door. Take it and make your escape. I will come to you again in your dreams, so it is imperative that you rest from time to time. In that way, I will be able to communicate with you and lend my aid. You are entering a dangerous arena, my friend, one in which the players are beings beyond your mortal comprehension. I do not envy your role. There is, however, a power within you as yet untapped. Look for me when you have gained experience in the world. You are my last and best hope.
I honestly kind of find it interesting to see Rhea as like a real person, even though it's made back in 1994 and the audio splicing and editing is not the best. I still kind of find it interesting. The whole story and the banter kind of gets you ready for the game ahead, and while the first dungeon can be a pain in the ass, I honestly think that it's a really good way to start out an Elder Scrolls game, especially the first one. So after inevitably dying a good couple times in your attempt to escape the dungeons to either rats or goblins, pick your poison,
with you died our last.
You will see this a lot. You eventually succeed and get to the portal that Rhea has left for you, and end up in the province of the race that you chose to play as. Now what I recommend doing at this point is resting at the local tavern, unless of course while you were in the dungeon you had already rested in one of the crevices that were along the walls. Because if you do any of these, it will progress the story, and Rhea will then appear and tell you your new objective.
I see you have strengthened your arm and your mind. It is time we began this journey. This is the Staff of Chaos, the one item that can open the door between this world and the dimension to which the Emperor has been banished. Tharn used this item to destroy my corporeal form when I tried to warn the Council. He knew that the Staff of Chaos was nigh indestructible, having been made from the essence of the land itself. But in that he found the key. As the land is split, so did he shatter the staff into 8 perfectly formed pieces. These he scattered across the realm. I have been able to divine the location of the first piece, a place called Fang Lair.
So Rhea explains that the only way to beat Tharn and to save the Emperor is to find an object called the Staff of Chaos, or as I like to call it, the Deus Ex Machina of the game. The staff is split into 8 pieces, meaning you have to go to 8 different places to get them all and form it. Rhea says the first place you have to travel to is Fang Lair. I'll let her cover the rest real quick.
It is said that Fang Lair was originally built by the dwarves of Kragan. Legend has it that a great worm drove the dwarves from their home in the Dragon's Teeth and took the lair for itself. I only wish I knew the exact location. Perhaps there are sages or scholars who would know of this place. Somewhere in its dank depths lies the first piece of the Staff of Chaos. I wish you well. Take care, for Tharn may be searching. Go forth with the blessings of the true Emperor and myself.
By going around towns and asking about Fang Lair, you're eventually brought to the province of Hammerfell, land of the Redguards. From here you'll be pointed in the direction of the city of Rahad, whose ruler has the location of Fang Lair. But in return for telling you it, she asks that you get her a parchment that can help her decipher a portion of one of the Elder Scrolls. The location of the parchment is a dungeon called Stonekeep, but aside from it being one of the first dungeons you'll go through in the game, it is largely unimportant. After retrieving the parchment and making it back to Rahad's ruler, she then gives you the location of Fang Lair as promised, and you are now a step closer to getting the first piece of the Staff of Chaos. The Eternal Champion must then head to Fang Lair and retrieve the first piece. After doing this, Tharn will be aware of the champion and his or her plan to stop Tharn, and will then in turn try to stop them.
I do not know who you are, but you have made a fatal mistake. Rhea Sylvain and her feeble powers are no protection for you. I should have discorporated her when I had the chance. I will not make the same mistake again. I will use the same dream bridge that she uses, sending my minions across time and space. Already they arrive, ones worthy of the attention you deserve. They will relieve you of the burden of the staff piece you now hold. Give it to them, and I will order your death painless and quick. Resist, and I shall see you in such suffering that you will grovel for the sweet release of death.
After fighting off Tharn's minions and resting, you should receive another message from Rhea informing you of the location of the next staff piece.
It seems that you are well chosen. I see that you have won the first piece of the staff. That in and of itself is not a simple task. Tharn, it seems, is not as concerned with you as I had thought he would be. Perhaps he thinks you dead or lost in the sewers from which you escaped. That is well, for I have discovered the second piece's location. There was once a great maze built by the Archmagus Shalador to guard what he called Glamouril, the elven term for the secret of life. I know not the location of the great maze, which was called the Labyrinthian, but somewhere in its twisted corridors lies the second piece of the Staff of Chaos.
Honestly, to save you and me time, I'm going to spare the finer details of the story ahead, as it follows the same formula as the first section I just explained. For the next 7 dungeons, you will always 1. Head to the province in which the dungeon is based. 2. Find the person with the knowledge of said dungeon. 3. Retrieve a trinket for them in exchange for the location. 4. Go to the location and retrieve the staff piece. 5. Get yelled at by Tharn. 6. Get praised by Rhea. 7. Be informed of the next location, and repeat. Don't believe me? Look back on the clips. I cut a piece from almost every main quest after Fanglair as background footage for those steps. So after Fanglair, the Eternal Champion must head to every other province in Tamriel to get the remaining pieces of the Staff of Chaos. He or she will have to travel to Labyrinthian in Skyrim, the Elden Grove in Valenwood, the Halls of the Colossus in Elsewhere, the Crystal Tower in the Somerset Isles, the Crypt of Hearts in Daggerfall, Mirkwood in Blackmarsh, and Dagoth in Morrowind. And of course, after all of these, you must face Tharn in the Imperial Palace in Cyrodiil. So yes, after collecting all the staff pieces and having the staff reform, the Eternal Champion will make his or her way to the Imperial City for one last challenge. After crawling through many dungeons and going on many adventures and many side quests, after building yourself up, after gathering as much equipment as you can, getting as many potions as you can, as many enchanted items as you can, well, it's time that you face Tharn.
I watched as you blundered your way into this place. At one time, I even considered approaching you with an offer to lead my Imperial Guard. But it is plain that you are not worthy of such a position. Be not fooled by what you would call success in your journey across the Empire, for you have never faced a being as powerful as I. Your death shall be slow and torturous, a suffering that shall span the millennium. Come, I await you in the dungeons below.
After fighting your way through Tharn's minions and henchmen and descending into the dungeons underneath the White Gold Tower, you find Tharn at the end. Fighting him is useless, as he cannot be killed, but if you can find the gem nearby that holds his life force, you can end this game and your journey also.
art truly a child of the Empire, I thank thee for thy assistance. I have a particular idea as to the question of your service in mind. From this day forth, thou art named the Eternal Champion. From thy hand shall be dealt the needs of the Empire. I, Uriel Septim, true Emperor of Tamriel, do decree and thus make law. Arise, my champion, and take thy rightful place at my side.
You have proven yourself a worthy champion of the Empire, and such service shall not easily be forgotten. Hang not your sword above the mantle, nor place your spellbook upon the shelves. Many such adventures still await your hand. This was but one chapter in the story of the Elder Scrolls. And so, it's over. I actually looked into it further after finishing Arena. I looked into more of the lore. It's interesting, actually. It states that the Eternal Champion took like 10 years to travel Tamriel and gather all the staff pieces. And considering how long it takes you to get from province to province in the game, it kind of makes sense. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's the story of Arena. I had to say, looking back on it, it might not be much, but after you play the game for 3 weeks non-stop like I did, beating it and defeating Tharan is one of the most satisfying experiences I think you can have. And for being the first game in the franchise, I have to say, the story wasn't bad, and it did a good job paving the way for future titles. Now let's move on to the last part, the gameplay analysis, and then we'll be done with this video. So before I get into the gameplay, I said at the beginning of the video there was a simple way to get Arena working really easily on DOS. Well, don't worry, I didn't forget. I'll explain now. Sorry about the wait. So once you install DOS in Arena, you should go to the link I have in the description for a program called Arena Setup. Straightforward, right? It is by far the simplest way to get Arena working, as all you need to do is run the program with DOS and Arena installed, click the options that pop up, and boom. From now on, Arena will automatically work, no problem, just click the shortcut and play. Okay, now about the gameplay. This section will be shorter than the story section, so bear with me. Arena is a very simple game where the only difficult part is really getting into it. Once you're in and you're used to its gameplay and its controls, you can play the whole game very easily. But it's very complicated and unforgiving for new players at first, so you gotta give it some time. What I mean is, until you get used to it, it's very clunky and foreign to most people. I know it was for me, and I'm sure if you're like me and didn't grow up with DOS, then you will go through what I went through. But trust me, if you give it time, you will get used to it if you really want to play this game. Character creation is interesting, as instead of spending most of your time working on your appearance, you will focus on your skills and class. Races matter this time around, as it is recommended picking something that is geared towards what playstyle you want. For example, I picked a Nord because I wanted to play as a warrior. I would recommend, if you were to play a mage, to pick an elf, or anything else like that. Also, interesting note, you cannot play as an Imperial or an Orc, as both weren't playable until Morrowind. I was very surprised when I couldn't play my Imperial. Please take note that this isn't Skyrim. You cannot be a jack of all trades. Once you select your class and your character, you can't just get another one. You're stuck with what you got. You gotta get used to it. Moving on to combat. I felt it was interesting, to say the least. I specialized in sword to sword, axes and other warrior stuff, but I dabbled a little bit with the magic, mostly through enchanted objects like, Greaves of Levitation and my bracelets of Mage's Fire, and God, I feel like a nerd. But no, in all seriousness, I mostly stuck to warrior stuff, while relying on objects for magic, as I really couldn't use magic as a warrior. I have to say, the way you use your weapon in this game is very interesting, as it's not just, click your button and there you go, you're attacking. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Not by much, but just a little bit. What I mean is, instead of just clicking to attack with your weapon like you do in most games today, you actually have to hold down the right mouse button and move the mouse in different directions to swing. If you move the mouse up, you poke the enemy. If you slash down, you swing your weapon down on them. And these different attacks have different chances of successfully hitting the target. Magic is, well, magic. All you do is select the spells you want to use and use them according to how much magicka you have. You can always make your own spells, buy them, or use enchanted objects to use magic. Moving on from combat, there are stealth mechanics too. But I really didn't get into lockpicking and stuff, as it isn't necessary, because 1, I didn't steal anything really, and 2, I can just break open any unmagical lock like a brute. And trust me, that was one of my favorite mechanics right there. Boom! That chest is open. Boom! That door is open. Boom! I just beat the game. Yeah. Anyway, dialogue is the same for most unimportant NPCs, as you mostly just ask for either directions, rumors, or buy goods from them if they are a merchant. Also, side quests. Yes, there are side quests. I did a couple of them. They're one of two ways. They're either really cool little side adventures where you go and rescue important people from dangerous people and amazing monsters like golems and trolls and whatever, or you just do everyone's errands. It's really one or the other. It's a good way to get gold, it's a nice distraction, but at the end of the day, that's really it. I should probably mention potions real quick, just to be safe. They are your go-to for almost any situation. Healing, curing poisons and diseases, damage resistances, fatigue restoration, magicka restoration, you name it. You will need them, so just get them. Go to the Mages Guild, pick a couple up before you go on an adventure, because trust me, running out of them sucks. Of course, it wouldn't be a Bethesda game without the bugs now, would it?
Do not fear, for it is I, Riftley.
No, you are not. I killed you.
I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. I did. I read it on the internet, so it's true.
The bugs range from small things like Rhea not appearing to give you dialogue to big things like an entire main quest being unfinishable because of scripting errors, to silly things like Tharn's head over Rhea's dialogue.
Battle, Mage of Tamriel, has taken on the god.
Wait just a minute. You're not Rhea.
And that sometimes it doesn't just work.
My advice to you, save a lot. You will be thankful. Honestly, there isn't really much else to talk about. If I were to say anything about the game, is that I think its strong suits are the story and the main quest dungeons. A lot of creative design went into the dungeons, and it shows, as I actually had some fun exploring them and answering riddles to open doors. The dungeons can be complicated though, so be prepared to have a walkthrough on standby, as you will get lost a lot. And as for the story, I think the thing that made it the most enjoyable was Tharn. I actually felt attached to the guy, as he's really one of the only adversaries that you face in the Elder Scrolls franchise that actually feels like a real villain. Daggerfall didn't really have a single villain, to be honest, and Oblivion just had you fight a Daedra Lord and his cult, and had no personality whatsoever. And if we're talking about Alduin from Skyrim, Alduin's just Alduin. I never felt any pressure from him in my opinion, and he just was another dragon you fought in the game. If anything, Miraak was more of a villain in my opinion. He actually had some interactions with you. The only real exception I can think of is Dagothar, and I don't know what to say about him as I really haven't beaten Morrowind yet. Don't crucify me, please. I haven't experienced his character in full, so I'm gonna hold off on saying anything about him. As I've heard Morrowind is amazing, I just haven't gotten into it, so I will though for the review. Don't worry, I will. Also, side note, when I say I haven't gotten into Morrowind, I mean I haven't really played through it extensively. I know the game, I own it, and I love its story. It's really well written. Just, I could never get around to playing it really, so yeah. Anyway, back to Tharn. Yeah, I really like him. He's always there to just kind of taunt you and goad you on in the story. After he discovers you, the nice message about Rhea wishing you well when you die in the afterlife is replaced by Tharn basically mocking you. And it kind of like pisses you off to the point where every time you die you're like, ha, you fool, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna get you one of these days, you know? But yeah, you have a rivalry with him, and it's kind of enjoyable. I think the best moment from him has to be the moment where you're almost done with the game, and he appears and just tells you this while you're looking for the last dungeon.
You amaze me with your tenacity. This game, however, is at an end, as you may already know. The final piece of the staff is in Dagothar, in the province of Morrowind. The information is useless to you, for none know the entrance to the volcano. And even if you survive the creatures I have sent against you now, you will not survive its depths. I bid you farewell. You have been a most worthy opponent.
It's just like, as much as this dude pisses me off, I have some respect for him. because he acknowledges your strength throughout the game. At the end of the game, he's like, at one point, I almost offered you, like, an opportunity to work with me. Because he knows you're strong. And that's pretty cool. It just adds that much more to the game, and him as a character. Anyway, I should be wrapping this up. I have to say Arena was a pretty good game. Not perfect, but enjoyable. And after playing through that and seeing it for how it is, I'm still looking forward to playing and analyzing the rest of the franchise, and seeing what things I like from it. But for now, Arena was a pretty good opening chapter for the story of the Elder Scrolls. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, and all other types of people out there, thank you so much for taking the first journey with me into the A Study Of series. I plan on analyzing the rest of the Elder Scrolls games and doing even more series in the future. But for now, this has been Infinity Break, reminding you all to eat well, play well, and live well, friends, and always strive to break infinity. Until next time. I want to take the time to thank all the people for helping me with clips and music for this video, and all my friends for providing feedback. All music and clips will be credited in the description, and especially thank you Riftley. Thank you for letting me use that Elder Scrolls mashup mix. It is perfect for the intro. Anyway, stay tuned for some special stuff here at the end. Anyway, you guys want to see me suffer a little bit? So Rhea explains that the only way to beat Tharn, almost to beat the Emperor, we gotta beat the Emperor, these damn lawless Imperials, and seeing what things I like from it. But for now, Arena was a pretty good opening chapter in the Elder Scrolls franchise. The voice broke, are you serious? I'm trying to record this live. We're like 10 minutes, I think. Let's retake this one like 7 times. His staff is split into 8 pieces. So you gotta go 8 dungeons. How hard is that to fucking say? But click the options that pop up on the screen, and boom, from now on, What I mean is, instead of just clicking to attack like you do in most games today, you actually have to hold down the right mouse button, and I can't talk. Why am I trying? What I mean is, until you get used to it, it's very clunky and foreign to most people. I know it was for me, and I'm sure if you're like me, it didn't grow up, but someone's walking. Someone's walking. Oh, who's walking? I swear to God, I hear you. Calm down. No, she's walking back. I live in a tiny house. People that are very loud. It's gonna be the longest blooper. Attacks have different chances of successfully hitting the target. These are the stories written by legend. Someone's hammering now. Seriously? Come on. What I mean is, instead of just clicking to attack like you do in most games today, the fucking bathtub. This is the 7th time I've had to take this take. The one time I think I actually have a chance. The bathtub turns on. The bathtub. What I mean is, instead of just clicking to attack like you do in most games today, you actually have to hold down the right mouse button. Fucking sorry, I don't want to swear, but just sitting here. We'll try to take this for like 15-20 minutes now. There's footsteps above me. I can't get over that last part. The bath. You have proven yourself a worthy champion of the Empire, and such service shall not easily be forgotten. Hang not your sword. Also, side quests. That sounded stupid. Down on them. And these different attacks have different chances of successfully hitting the target. Fuck it, that's good enough. Let's do it. Next time on A Study Of.
Excuse the gloom, but none may know of this meeting. Over a year ago, King Lysandus of Daggerfall died honorably on the field of battle. He was as loyal a subject, ally, and friend as you are. I did grieve for him. But his spirit does not rest. With a spectral army, he haunts his former kingdom, crying for revenge. I do not know why a good and loyal man would be so cursed. Perhaps you can find the answer and close the marble jaws of oblivion, bringing peace to his soul.
400 years after Tiber Septim's reign, the beginning will meet the end, and the bloody circle will close at the Empire of Tamriel. The unworthy heirs of the Septim dynasty have allowed the bonds of the Empire to weaken and crack. Uriel Septim, the Seventh, cannot repair what his ancestors ignored. The provinces fight among themselves like neglected children, drunk with rebellion, and one indomitable power hides itself, but not forever.
Now, my champion, rest well this night, for tomorrow you sail for the kingdom of Daggerfall.
A study of the Elder Scrolls, Part 2, Daggerfall.